So what got you first interested in filmmaking?
Books at the local school library. I remember I went in there one day and I came across this pop-up book that pertained to older films from like the early 20th century and how they were made, and it kind of got me interested. And I started watching silent films, vice versa, the films of Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton, and then I eventually discovered the original, well, the American 1956 Godzilla at Hollywood Video, and I rented it. And I realized how they were doing their special effects by using miniatures, and I was always building little maquettes. So I said, I'm going to remake this movie. I borrowed toys and other various things from friends of mine, and I made a Godzilla remake back in 2004.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I gotta say, Charlie Chaplin. I've only seen one of his films, but it was beautiful. I saw what was it? Modern Times. That was really
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm. I need to get that again. My favorite of his is the Gold Rush.
Yes, I've heard that one's very good. I also need to see. Is it called The Child, The Orphan? What's it called?
The Kid.
The Kid. That's it. How long have you been a part of the furry community?
Since 2006, I discovered a furry vine. I mean, I was aware of what furries were previous to this. Granted, like many people, I had got my facts incorrect and just assumed it was like the Therians or the other kin or something along those lines. But I discovered furry vine. The makers such as Majira Strawberry, Marks Barks, Tail Fluff Fluff, vice versa, and I loved the comedy and the camaraderie and just the togetherness of the whole thing. And I thought to myself, I might want to be part of this.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of a lurker for years, but I again stayed away from it because I was always interested in werewolf mythology, and I knew that was kind of like a subgenre of the furry community.
That's kind of what got me started. To be 100% honest, when I was a kid and I saw the 1992 Beauty and the Beast for the first time, the end transformation like just fascinated me. And I used to like imagine what it would be like. In fact, as a kid, I was like, "Why is he turning into a person? Change back." Uh,
I felt the same way.
and then as the years went on, I kept coming across transformation stuff, especially in children's entertainment. I remember an episode of I don't know if it was Ultimate Spider-Man, but it was the one where he's on another planet, and we have the Man Wolf in that episode, and then there's an episode of X-Men Evolution where, oh bloody hell, what's her name? Uh, I'm forgetting what her name is, but Rogue, that's it. She sucks the powers out of Sabretooth and basically becomes a werewolf for a small amount of time, and that fascinated me as well.
Okay, so what was the inspiration for the transformation videos?
Well, I was working on what was going to be a film, but it never got made. I came up with this police police procedural, well, not really police procedural, supernatural police story that takes place in a contemporary world similar to ours, but um, fantasy creatures coexist with us. And I had an idea for the two policemen. Both of them have been around for thousands of years. One was cursed to be immortal, and one is a dragon who can shapeshift because of racial tensions back in like the 13th century. He took on human form to hide from that. So one of the ideas of the show is that he'd be in human form for most of the time until a fight scene broke out, and he would take on a humanoid dragon form. And I wanted to see how I would be able to pull that off for no money. And I did a small test, and it got 800 views very quickly. And I was like, oh, people seem to like this. So let me see if I could do another one, but with better transformation effects in it. And then that one did a lot better, like got maybe a couple thousand. And then I kind of started doing that. And then a friend of mine from North Carolina said, why don't you do the American Werewolf in London recreation? And I did that. And that one blew up. And then I just kind of kept going from there. I kind of wish people would stop bothering me about that because I got to do more than just that.
Yeah. Now, in talking about like features or anything, or just any film in general, if is there anything that if you had a bigger budget and maybe some more help, more of a crew, would you go back and ever remake any of your older works?
I probably wouldn't go back and remake. Maybe one. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, uh, I did do a lucha. Well, actually, no, I don't think I would remake that because I'm unlike Sam Raimi. I don't have a problem with people seeing my older stuff. So I would just leave it as is. If I did have a bigger budget, I would move on to bigger and better things. Like if I had $100,000, I would get Reb Brown in on something.
Yeah.
Or oh Lord, what's his name? Oh, he's in everything. He played a gangster in The Dark Knight. Eric Roberts.
Yeah. That would be cool. That would be awesome. What's your favorite film of yours, of any sort, that you've made so far?
Well, I would probably say Dracula versus Frankenstein is one of my favorites. Black Tiger, actually, and Beast by Night for the most for my recents.
Mm-hmm. Beast by Night I thought was really fun. I thought the brothers were really good characters, and the cave scene was like legitimately like emotional, so that was really good.
Thank you. I get a lot of good feedback on my emotional stuff.
Yeah.
I should probably write more drama, but then again, I wouldn't if I don't watch. Actually, that's probably a good thing. If you don't watch drama and you try and write drama, you can't be bogged down by the cliches.
What's the most difficult film you've done so far, like as far as challenges you went through to make it?
Every film is a challenge because, especially the features, they take so long to do because I have so many different things going on at the exact same time. It is difficult making the transformation videos by yourself because you have to take the makeup on, put it back off. How did I screw that one up? You have to take the makeup off and then put it back on, vice versa. Especially when you're doing things by yourself, with bladders and stuff. So it's very difficult doing basically everything, but it turns out good in the end.
So this is a question purely because I'm genuinely curious. I noticed that you have an autographed image of Dee Wallace from The Howling, and I'm like, she's like my favorite actress. I gotta know, did you meet her to get that, or did you like send it to her through the mail and she signed it?
No, she was at Monster Palooza in 2019, and she was one of the guests there, and that was one of the reasons I went. Outside of meeting Bruce Campbell, Sid Haig, who else was there?
Oh, wow, you got to meet Sid Haig before he died.
Yeah, Prince Humperdinck. I forget what his real name is, but he was the vampire in the original Fright Night.
Yeah.
Tom Savini was also there.
Nice.
And I think I met one other person. I don't remember who it was, but yeah, it was a photo shoot plus an autograph. So my original plan was to buy a werewolf sculpture, but it was too expensive, so I decided to get that from her, as well as a photograph. And the autograph that it says on the paper is, "To Zachary, bite me."
Nice. So what other feature films would you like to make in the future? What are your plans for more big projects?
Well, currently, I started. I don't know if I'm going to finish this, but I probably should get back to working on this. I started working on a found footage slasher film because I'm interested in like footage that you're not supposed to see, sort of things, and like true crime and abandoned things, vice versa. And I was watching like a top 10, and this footage showed up of these two kids they were driving in their car and they were planning on killing a friend of theirs for real.
Mm-hmm.
And the footage was there. I'm like, shit, this is creepy. And well, of course it would be. And I thought I could do something like that for a found footage slasher film about a rich kid who thinks he's better than everybody else and just kind of goes crazy thinking he can get away with this stuff.
That does sound fun.
Also, sorry to interrupt, but also at the moment, I'm kind of wanting to get back to this script that I wrote a while ago, back in 2017. The best way I could describe it is kind of
punk. No, not that's a little. I guess you can kind of say a bit steampunk, but that probably might be in what that might not be the right phrase, but a period piece set in like the turn of the century, early 1900s, but it's a world where science and magic still kind of exist. Magic is on the outs, but people still kind of use it. And there's a guy who's cursed to be a humanoid crow because crows are considered the bringers of death.
Yeah, that would be fun too. Is there any advice you have for other aspiring filmmakers and special effects artists?
Don't aim to make the most expensive film you can think to make. You have to take into consideration what your limitations are and how you can work around those. For instance, say you want to make an action film like my film Black Tiger, and it's like, okay, where can I film? I don't have very many locations to shoot in. Like, I don't have an office building, vice versa. So say look around, see if you can find things for free. For instance, down here where I live, I've gone to a convention center several times, and I asked the security guard who works there, hey, I noticed that people can just jog in here on regular days when there's nobody here. Do you have to pay to come in here? And he's like, oh, no, you can just come in here, walk around, as long as you tell us beforehand you can come in here. And I was like, oh, okay, I have a location then. It's a big interior building that looks like an office building. Mm-hmm. depending on where you shoot your scenes, vice versa. It's very large, very spacious. You could always ask if you could shoot stuff for free, or just up and lie and say you're a student. Mm-hmm. I've done that several times. I'll just walk around. I'll be like, hey, if I wanted to film in this location, could I? And then they'll say, yeah, as long as we know what you're doing. And going back to the budgetary thing, I've seen so many low-budget films that try very hard to do something huge and fail and come short. For instance, there's this film I saw, which is basically a straight-up rip-off of Blade Runner, and it's supposed to take place in the future, but it obviously looks like the time it was filmed, 1993. There's nothing really futuristic about it, mm-hmm. outside of a few props here and there. So if you're going to say do a futuristic film, you have to make sure where you're filming works, and if you can't make it look super futuristic, have little bits and pieces here and there that aim to show that it's futuristic. Like, for instance, don't show very many cars or buildings that look like the time you're filming it in, or explain that in this future not everything is crazy futuristic like it would be in the movies. Or come up with something interesting like, oh, in this future, what's the word I'm looking for? Robotic technology has become mass-produced, so anyone can get their hands on it, and you could get like cybernetic arms and stuff. Say if you need surgery, you can get a quick surgery to get like an electronic stoma placed in your neck that still enables you to speak normally and taste stuff, vice versa. Or little things like because I've seen some low budget features put tubing on the wall, and people are like, what are those tubings there for? Have a throwaway line saying that it's an air purifier or something. You have to do something that gets the audience believing that it's the future, even if you can't afford everything that a multi-million-dollar film can make. And also watch everything, big budget, low budget, television. Get ideas from everywhere. Watch mm-hmm. foreign films. I watch a lot of Turkish films. I watch Italian films. I watch films from Japan. I watch films from Indonesia and Taiwan. I watch things from England. I watch films that are shot from Wakaliga in Uganda. I watch films shot for $200. I watch films shot for no money. I watch films shot for $200,000. And then I take everything that I see from those. I take the good and the bad, and I'm like, okay, what did they do bad? Don't do that. What did they do good? Do that. Mm-hmm. How is the writing in this big budget film? Use the writing from this big budget film with the effects from this low budget film that look okay, and then put that together so you can get something that's really good in the middle.
Yes. Very good advice. I agree entirely. Do you have any other comics in the works? I know you've done Fierce. You're working on chapters of, I believe it was called Wolf's Kin. Mm-hmm. And you do a lot of traditional and digital art of all sorts.
Now, when it comes to comics, outside of Wolfskin, I don't have anything planned at the moment, but I do have something that I'm kind of working on. It's an attempt at doing a romance story with a semi-autobiographical aspect. Again, it's going to be furry related. You can say that it's slightly based off of Beastars, but not entirely so, outside of the artwork being reminiscent of Paru Itagaki.
Yes. So, yeah, thank you so much, and I guess I'm gonna call it here, so, if there's anything else you want to say to my small audience, go for it.
How many furries out there don't like a woo?
I can imagine a lot. That'll get him mad. Nice. Alright, thank you, Zach. I will see you on Patreon.
All right, adios. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.